Welcome to another episode here on my channel. My name is ChaosMole, and we got the patch notes for the Warhammer 40k Darktide closed open pre-order early access beta. This is patch 1.7, and this is the very first patch for the Darktide pre-order beta. So if you don't know how this works, it's pretty simple. Darktide pre-order beta is running right now to the official release, and they are slowly adding new stuff to the beta every week till then the official release is happening. And they're also doing some patches here and there, some changes to bugs, glitches, and so on and so forth. So it's not just new stuff coming, but they're also patching some things. And this is the official announcement. I haven't read this yet, and I'm doing this live with my community because, well, it happened exactly when I did go live on YouTube. So let's read through this together, and then let's talk about this. Rejects. We've just finished our first full weekend on the pre-order beta of Warhammer 40k Darktide, and frankly have been both excited and overwhelmed by the sheer volume of players jumping in. It's a great opportunity to many of you to play, but it also helps us shape the game leading into the launch on November 30th. As many of you may also have seen, we are truly using this time to pressure test the systems and beta the game. Some of this isn't without hiccups, and we have had our share of them, but some of it can deepen players' experience. A good example of this is our ventilation purge event. It was one of the many conditions we can add to the game, keeping you staying in tertium fun and never changing. Yeah, and the ventilation purge was pretty frightening. I like the more horde or less horde event, which was going on yesterday, so that was pretty cool. But we have work to do. We entered this pre-order beta with the idea that it was a great opportunity to continue improving the experience, and in some areas we are ahead of the game, but in others we are behind. In particular, below are the top issues we observed, our current state, and what we hope to address in the 1.7 update, along with future updates. Online services and matchmaking. We have made every attempt to scale our services for launch through both a technical and closed beta, but the truth is that there is no good way for us to simulate a real-world environment at this scale. This weekend served as yet another test. Unfortunately, we did encounter a few bugs which negatively impacted players and the ability to play. So, if many of you were bounced out of a game or no longer could connect due to a backend error, know that throughout the weekend, the team worked through many of the issues which should help improve the service. This isn't to say it is where we want it to be. Yeah, thankfully, I was really lucky with this. Like, I got hit by it too hard. There were some smaller issues here and there, but I mostly evaded it. So that was pretty nice. But I do know that there were enough people who had those issues. Yes. Stability in performance. We are far from happy and see more crashes than we have hoped. At the same time, we also expected some of this and are looking to the pre-launch beta to test and help address many of these issues. So far, we have identified and fixed many of the content issues causing crashes in the recent and upcoming patches, but there are also a few remaining. In particular, there's one big category of crashes manifested as GPU hangs. They probably still will show its ugly face at times. That said, we are on a good trajectory to have a stable game at the time of the release to a large part to the many players that are helping provide us with the required data to help address the issues. Again, I had one crash this whole time, and that was when I activated the 60 FPS cap. That's where the crashes came in. I deactivated that and it did go away, but I only had one crash. Like, I am completely unaffected from those crashes. With that said, I know enough people, enough streamers, enough friends who are very much fighting with those issues on a daily basis, and that is not good. Like, I'm not one of those people who are like, I don't have any issues, I don't know what the issue is. Right? Like, no. I see and totally understand how infuriated it is to be affected by those issues. In terms of performance, it is safe to assume that we see a high variance between players with seemingly similar hardware. Yeah, that is the weird shit. I saw some streamers who have similar or sometimes even a little bit of better hardware than I have. And again, I have pretty smooth sailing besides of that one mission, which is just shutting up my system, and I'm just evading that mission. So it's weird how that works. Given the wide range of configurability in the game, it is difficult to automatically find the best parameters for every player. That said, the more data collected, the more we believe we improve the detection and automation of configurability. At the same time, we will continue to adjust the presets and encourage all of you to visit the performance blog in the event that you don't believe you are getting the best performance in the game. Finally, we will continue working on further optimization, especially regarding ray tracing. Yeah, look, as I said, there's this one mission I think everyone is reporting is just tanking the FPS. It's the one with the Nurgle tree in it, and where you have to like collect the data from like some infection or something. This is the mission everyone is reporting as being just absolutely dog shit. And even with that said, there is sometimes some weird FPS fall downs. Like I have watched another streamer yesterday, and they had like 130 FPS. Then they looked into the wrong direction, so to speak, and they did fall down to 100 or even 90 FPS. Like that is a crazy FPS decrease, which I don't think has anything to do with how to set up your performance accordingly, but something which is going on in the game. Gameplay balancing and new features. Meet Kral, Oscar Kral. As a designated chirurgeon, wow, alright, words today, huh? Of the Morningstar, Kral will help rejects with their regular beauty routine. From simple haircuts to sophisticated changes in your overall appearance, Kral is a maestro specializing in the new look on life, as he calls it. Make sure to visit him and leave a positive review. Okay, this is actually the dude which has been already in the game. If you are jumping into the Morningstar and you go immediately left, that's where you find him. He has been there. I actually missed this dude, and I was thinking yesterday, like, wait, is this dude new? No, he's not new. He has been there for since the pre-order beta, and now he is active, which is pretty neat. We've also continued to work on balancing our classes. The Zealot class had a balance pass. Some fixes, specifically on the toughness feat side. An updated player-facing text. The aim is to make the choice between the three options a bit more interesting, whilst establishing Zealot's survivability as an engaging challenge with sensible power. The bleed functionality has also been overhauled to provide proper stacking, opening up the viability and synergy of Zealot, Ogryn, and veteran talent options. Yeah, I actually wanted to make, this is kind of funny, I actually prepared a video about the bleeding of the Zealot, and I wanted to point out some interesting findings. I might have to completely redo this now because things might have changed. I will put it pretty simple here. The bleeding was ass. Like, the bleeding was ass. And we will see. Maybe they talk about it. We included the missing pieces of the initial psyche balancing, namely the force sword push. We have removed the peril cost of pushing along with a slight range nerf. Peril cost is still there on the push follow-up though, which should help to balance this ability to ignore the stagger reduction. Interesting, I'm not playing as Psyker. We've taken the opportunity to bump infantry autoguns, shredder auto pistols, and Ogryn bully club to see if they can enrich the gameplay. At the same time, we reviewed some of the challenge outliers, higher difficulty spawns, and events as part of the effort to present a fun but challenging experience. Thank you. Looking locking the forces of chaos immediately should be a bit smoother while clamping down some of the more insane spike in the pacing. Yes. Like, there has been too many moments in this game where a long time nothing interesting happens, and then the game is just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you, and it's this, where was this the whole level long, right? It's a bit weird. So, good. Look to us to keep an eye on rebalancing our classes. It is something that we will do regularly throughout the pre-launch period and continue into launch as we respond to player feedback. Update summary. The 1.7 update offers many improvements and fixes to issue identified. Let's have a look. Fix a significant amount of crashes. We will see about that. Fix stuck in position 1. Okay, that's cool. Fixed. Let me see. Fix an issue, buying things in the... Wow, I didn't have that. Fix an issue where the Tigris MK2 heavy eviscerator damage stat did not work as intended. Damage defaulted to 50%. Now should scale damage properly. Okay. Fix multiple crashes. Fix crashes. Anything in here? Fix an issue where players would sometimes spawn with both weapons in hand. I mean, that's pretty metal. Rebalancing. Oh, here we go. Veteran talent balance pass bleeding. I don't know what that means. Zealot talent pass, balance pass, toughness and bleeding updates. Okay, can you go a little bit into details here, Fat Shark? What does that mean? Because now I basically have to go into the game and go through those numbers and create basically a video on what was changed here, right? Ogryn's balance pass and grenade amounts adjusted. Ogryn club attack combo adjusted. Damage values increased against certain enemy types. Ogryn shovel increased mobility. Doesn't have. This is like super not helpful. This is super not helpful. That's unfortunate. Bump up for autoguns and auto pistols. That's good. States to be a third person. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And this is just an FAQ. Okay. When will be more detailed weapon stats available? We understand the way information is presented for the weapon stats is unclear. Pretty useless. We hear you and working on the changes we were implementing post-release. Okay, post-release. So here's the thing. Why I'm saying this is pretty useless, because bleeding in itself was pretty useless before this. I tested some bleeding yesterday, and the biggest problem bleeding also had was it was unstackable. So if you had multiple bleedings, it didn't stack, it just refreshed. So going on a high crit chance to get like a lot of bleeding out of it was not really that great. And also another thing which made it pretty crazy, and because of that bad, was that bleeding was actually changing depending if the enemy had armor on or not. So let me give you an example. When I would apply bleed on an unarmored enemy, I would do 12 bleed damage per tick, right? If the enemy was armored, the bleed damage would only do 9 damage. 9. Yep. It would only do 9 damage instead. And frankly speaking, I actually kind of hope that bleeding would be a little bit a counter to armored enemies, right? But quite the opposite. And yeah, so bleeding felt kind of weak. We have to see what they changed with the Zealot, to be honest. And I would love to get like a more detailed overview the next time. And I would definitely I will definitely keep it posted. Maybe I will make another video about this. But for now, this is what we are getting in patch 1.7. I also thought we are getting more maps. I thought there was in the previous announcement that the first patch is bringing some new maps. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that is the case. With that said, thank you so much for watching. As I said, I will definitely take a look at it. And if there is some like bigger changes, I will make an extra video about it. So make sure that you are subscribing to the channel if you want to see more Warhammer 40k Darktide content. We already have some videos here on the channel. More to come, of course. I've already some videos planned. Some are already done. Just have to release them, right? And there's much more coming. We are also streaming Warhammer 40k Darktide, well, besides of today, here on the channel from Monday to Friday, starting at 8 AM East Coast time, which is 1 PM UK time and 2 PM Central European time. And if you really like this video, I would appreciate if you leave a like. And with that said, I'll see you next time. The Emperor protects. Stay safe. Bye-bye.